With a small amount of air, the voice will be small. It will tend to stay in the back of the throat. With too much air, the voice may be forced, distorted, or overmodulated. The effect to strive for is a buoyant, well-supported sound, floating on top of a column of air like gliding bird with wings spread, floating buoyantly on a column of air. The way I do this is by breathing from the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a flat muscle that divides the chest cavity from the abdominal cavity. This is the flexible platform for my voice. The diaphragm is the source of vocal power, with the muscles around the waist and under the ribs in the solar plexus area also playing an important part. I squeeze my lungs evenly from the bottom of my rib cage to create an even, well-supported column of air projected as a full vocal sound. The diaphragm will squeeze the air up from the bottom, and I will get a good quality sound. If you've ever watched a baby lying on its back, you've watched diaphragmatic breathing at its most natural and best. When a baby inhales, the lower part of the chest rises, and when it exhales, the lower chest falls. So diaphragmatic breathing is a completely natural process. I put this natural process to work in developing a better sounding voice. The muscle area that controls diaphragmatic breathing stretches. When I exhale, it tightens or contracts. I keep a picture of the elastic band in mind until the process becomes second nature. In stress situations, the breathing may be short and shallow. Remember, as the diaphragm begins to fill the upper chest, is still. To master the mechanics of elastic band breathing, I place the palm of my hand on the muscles in the solar plexus area. Now take a deep, even breath. Yawn. Feel the bellows move outward. Now breathe out slowly. Feel the air flow out in a smooth, even stream. Exhale. I can actually feel the mechanics of the action. As the hand moves inward, as the rubber band tightens, the diaphragm pushes up and the stream of air moves out the top, smoothly and evenly. Now that I understand the mechanics, let's talk about making controlled breathing a part of you. The only way to do this is through constant practice and exercise. From a general point of view, it's obvious that I must keep my body in good condition. Get plenty of physical exercise. The muscle tone of my entire body has a profound effect on the way I sound. Swimming and running are excellent forms of exercise for vocal development, and they're particularly good developers of breath control. Now, mastery of this technique will challenge me. It's going to take plenty of work, and it is worth the effort. Practice the everyday. Here's an extra one that I can practice anytime you're walking along the street. A famous announcer passed this one along to me, and he has one of the best diaphragmatic actions I've ever seen. He made this one a constant habit. When you're walking down the street, take in a full supply of air on the count of 3 footsteps. Hold it for the next 3 steps. Then exhale on the next 3. Make sure I have a full supply on the count of 3 when inhale, and that I exhale all of the air on the last 3 steps. Then increase the count to 4, 5, 6, and so on until you've gone as high as I can go. When I make this one a regular exercise, I'll notice a tremendous increase in my capacity and control. Here's another important point concerning breathing. Remember that microphones are extremely sensitive, and nothing sounds worse than an announcer gasping for air between sentences. The trick here is to open the throat when I inhale. Simulate the yawning position as I breathe in. Raise the soft palate, and you'll hardly make a sound. You'll hear more about the advantages of an open throat in subsequent lessons, but right now, remember it as an important aid to quiet breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing will help give my voice a full, rich tone. This will have a tremendous effect on phrasing, pacing, and force. Properly breathing will also hide any nervousness energy I may feel. I remember the secret is constant practice and exercise. Exercises. 1. I lie on the floor or other flat surface with the knees raised. Place one hand on my waistline and the other on the upper abdominal muscles. When I inhale, I notice that the lower chest and upper abdomen expands with little movement in the upper chest. Exercises 2 through 7 should be done standing in a comfortable position with feet spread for balance. I stand slightly forward on the balls of my feet. 2. I place one hand on the upper abdominal muscles and the other on the muscles in the solar plexus area. I inhale by expanding the abdominal and intercostals muscles. Hold my breath for count of 2 and exhale slowly by blowing a thin stream of air at a smooth, uniform rate. Repeat several times. 3. Place hands as before. Inhale in a staccato fashion. Fill lungs to capacity to count of 3. Hold breath for count of 2. Exhale, staccato style. Lungs should be completely empty by count of 3. Repeat, increasing count progressively from 3 to 6. 4. Place hands as before. Inhale slowly, hold for count of 2. Exhale slowly on sound O until air supply is exhausted. Hold the sound as long as I possibly can. Do the same on the sounds AH, I, EE, AY, and O. 5. Place hands as before. A. Inhale and exhale rapidly in panting fashion. Keep back of throat open. B. Inhale slowly, exhale forcefully on sound my. 6. Place hands as before. Inhale slowly. Hold for count of 2. Exhale on sound op. Give sudden explosive push at end of breath. The final push should be forceful enough to lift the wall of the upper chest. Do the same on the sounds AH, I, EE, AY, and OO. 7. Place hands as before. Inhale and say 1. Elongate the sound so that all the air is expelled by the time the sound dies out. Inhale again and say 1, 2. The muscles of the lower chest and upper abdomen should be pushed in a little farther for 2 than for 1. Inhale and say 1, 2, 3. Push the muscles in still farther for 3 than for 2. Continue to add numbers to this exercise and raise the count as high as I possibly can. Exercises. Practice reading the following commercial, taking a new breath at every oblique stroke. Here's wonderful news for the busy homemakers. Now you too can bake a real old-fashioned brown sugar cake with a modern, work-saving new mix from Betty Crocker. Yes, Betty Crocker's new brown sugar cake mix is so easy. In a jiffy, it's ready for the oven. And bring out the most delicious, tender, moist cake with a melt-in-your-mouth, sweet flavor, and cozy kitchen fragrance and country oven goodness, guaranteed homemade perfect by Betty Crocker. We know only Betty Crocker brings the mix for brown sugar cake. One big 20-ounce size package that makes a high, light, and tender cake as easy as can be, so make some leisure time for yourself. Use Betty Crocker's new mix for brown sugar cake. It's guaranteed to be as perfect as the finest. Homemade! Look for it in the package with the bright red spoon, Betty Crocker's exclusive new brown sugar cake. Mark the copy with my own oblique strokes wherever I need a breath or pause for effect, then practice reading it. Lesson 3. Vocal attitude. I know the expression, it isn't so much what I say as how I say it. In other words, it's the reflection of attitude in what I say that projects meaning. When I speak, I convey some attitude or combination of attitudes as an outward expression of the way I feel inside. This is true in my normal communication with people. The same rules apply to communicating ideas, moods, and attitudes in radio and TV and internet voice acting. Many phases of announcing are interpretive or creative. The announcer must express ideas and feelings that as an individual I may not feel. I may be less than enthusiastic about a product or service that I am asked to promote. In that way, I am in the same career category as an actor. It may be necessary to gain an awareness in expressing feelings and attitudes with conviction, whether I am personally involved or not. There is a simple way to approach this, based on interpersonal relationship with the mind and body. Thoughts create feelings and then an action. The action can also create the feeling. When I want to convey the message of happiness in audio recording, I will smile to communicate the feeling. The feeling will automatically become apparent in my vocal expression. As an experiment, imagine the look of cheerfulness and enthusiasm in the eyes and face. I may use a mirror to make sure I have captured the look. When I have the pose and attitude, I will say the line, "This is the best thing that ever happened." I probably noticed that the diaphragm responded by falling right into the mood of things, and I actually sounded like I meant it. I experience the same effect reflected in my voice with any thought or feeling, especially when there's any strong emotional connotation. I practice this technique regularly in front of a mirror, experiment with it, and make it work for you. It could easily be the most useful thing that you'll ever learn about vocal expression. The technique will work in actual practice. I'll take a sample paragraph and read it with two totally different attitudes. First, with an attitude of anger. All I know is I saw her there one foggy night when she didn't know I was watching. She was exactly as I remembered her, and as I stood there watching her, I remembered every detail of the past as though it were yesterday. I wondered why she came to this deserted spot and what it was that she was looking for. I was sure I knew why she had come. I walked slowly toward her. One thing I knew for certain, she would remember our chance meeting for a very long time. Now, with an attitude of affection, repeat the above. All I know is I saw her there one foggy night when she didn't know I was watching. She was exactly as I remembered her, and as I stood there watching her, I remembered every detail of the past as though it were yesterday. I wondered why she came to this deserted spot and what it was that she was looking for. I was sure I knew why she had come. I walked slowly toward her. One thing I knew for certain, she would remember our chance meeting for a very long time. Of course, in a newscast, spot announcement, or any other broadcast assignment, the attitude may change a number of times in one script of text. To demonstrate the technique, reflect the emotion of specific attitudes. Read this news item with an attitude of authority. A chartered airliner carrying more than 300 passengers crashed into the jungle in the Northern Republic last night, and officials fear all aboard were killed. The death toll makes this accident one of the worst single-plane disasters in commercial aviation history. The four-engine plane crashed 2 minutes after leaving the airport during a severe thunderstorm. Then, the next read is an advertisement for a soft drink. The announcer is animated and enthusiastic. It's here, Florida Orange, a new refreshment thrill. Serve it ice cold at parties and picnics. With lunch and midnight snacks, it's as cool and crisp as a December sleigh ride. The taste of sparkling Florida Orange will heighten the fun, brighten the occasion. When I want refreshment, serve ice-cold Florida Orange. In summation, I'd like to say this. Every time I speak, I convey some sort of attitude or mixture of attitudes. The main thing, so far as the radio television announcer is concerned, is that he reflects sincerity and conviction. Remember, the attitude with which I approach any spoken assignment should come automatically if I fully understand what it is you're saying, to whom you're saying it, and why I am saying it. The how should follow. You'll be better able to reflect that attitude convincingly if I localize the feeling in my eyes and face and fit the physical mold. Exercises. 1. Read the following sentence to express 1. Anger. 2. Pain. 3. Fear. 4. Warning. You shouldn't have done that. 2. Read the following sentence to express 1. Joy. 2. Revenge. 3. Despair. This is the moment I have waited for. 3. Read the following sentence to express 1. Delight. 2. Resignation. 3. Anger. 4. Sarcasm. Yes, I understand quite clearly. 4. Read the following paragraph with these interpretations. 1. Hatred and bitterness. 2. Love and affection. All I know is I saw her there one foggy night when she didn't know I was watching. She was exactly as I remembered her, and as I stood there watching her, I remembered every detail of the past as though it were yesterday. I wondered why she came to this deserted spot and what it was that she was looking for. I was sure I knew why she had come. I walked slowly toward her. One thing I knew for certain, she'd remember our chance meeting for a long time. Exercises. Read the following in 3 different ways. Imagining 1. That the lady is setting out on her honeymoon. 2. That she is on her way to the funeral of one whose death leaves her bereft of home and support. 3. That she is on her way to prison. The road was quite familiar to her, but never had she expected to travel along it under circumstances such as those in which she found herself. Her wildest dreams had failed to picture this. The man by her side seemed to be unmoved by such external circumstances, being intent only on escorting her to her destination. Question after question surged through her mind. What would the future be? How could she face it away from all who loved her? When would she see her old home again? But suddenly all the questioning ceased. The car slowed to a standstill. The door opened. With every nerve quivering, she stepped out and crossed the gateway.